Give it a second. Okay, we're here live. I'm Michael Eline with the Circle of Legal Trust, and we just parsed and separated the Circle of Legal Trust from the Michael Eline profile. I'm, slowly learning these HOAs better. So now we'll be able to have a whole video log on the Circle of Legal Trust on YouTube with a separate channel and everything. So you don't have to dig through all my personal injury videos to find these things. But today, we don't have a full house. I unfortunately only noticed this event yesterday, so it didn't give a lot of people a lot of lead time. But just at the outset, I want to go over a quick housekeeping issue. The mastermind session is going to be in Las Vegas on the 25th. I'll be getting there on the 24th. We're going to have some real hitters, primarily personal injury lawyers like Seth Price, Tony Castelli, Rosenfeld. Hopefully he'll be there. Matt Dolman's going to be there, Florida guy. And we're going to go into advanced siloing techniques, how to get away from guest blogging, which I've never agreed was a good idea. It's got to be an earned link, from people who trust you and you trust. So we're going to get into that kind of stuff, and we're going to discuss, why anchor text really isn't something you want to be doing. It just sort of draws attention to you. Exact match anchors doesn't really help you anymore anyways. Probably hurts you when you're getting manually reviewed. So there's going to be a lot of things that we go into. I'm going to talk with Eric Inga to see if we can get him to maybe come along again like last time, so we can have him sort of do a Q&A session. Hopefully Tony can get Ronnie Bincer and some of the other guys back like we did last time, so we can just kind of rehash things and look at some of the new exciting changes with HOAs and the algorithm and how it's changing. Yeah, for all of you PI lawyers, Personal Injury Attorney Warriors magazine, it's still in its infancy, but we've got some real quality articles. We actually have a few people seeking to be our sponsor, like expert witnesses and stuff like that. So, I envision a time where we'll be able to do Las Vegas conventions where we have actually a whole convention hall where there's vendors and stuff like that there. Because the bottom line is, marketing is probably the sole most important thing for any lawyer. If you're not a rainmaker, you're working for someone else. If you want to take control of your practice and your life, you've got to get clients. And the way you get clients nowadays is not the yellow pages. That's what you use for a doorstop. It's Google and Bing, and so you really have to learn how to utilize these tools. And as we've all seen from Google, Penguin, and Panda, these SEO companies, a lot of them were churn and burn. And so what we really want to do is focus on compliance with the quality guidelines, doing it right so we don't have to go through this again. It looks like someone's hailing me. Does anybody know who that is?
Well, I can tell you Steve Sweat and Jeffrey Lapin are still trying to get in.
Well, they've all been invited, and they're trying to invite me into a video call.
They can't find their invite, and I told them to go to their email, and Lapin says he is a member of the Circle of Legal Trust. There he is.
What they have to do is just go to the Circle of Legal Trust, or just go to the events page and just join the Hangout. How did you get in, Steve?
I found the invite.
Okay,
where?
Cool.
Because Lapin can't find it.
I just scrolled through my stream there, and it was there.
Yeah, or you can just go to the events page. Tell Jeff, just go to the events page and just join the Hangout, because he's already been invited. So all you have to do is click join. Yeah, so we've got Steve here, so we can kind of go into the Personal Injury Warriors magazine a little bit as well. In fact, let's go ahead and do that now. Steve, I know you need articles. That's basically all you need to really get the magazine going. Yep. But Steve also is a busy lawyer with a busy practice, and he's doing a lot for the Circle. And so, Charlotte, I was kind of hoping, because I noticed that you have pretty good penmanship and editorial skills, that we could have you be our assistant editor. So once Steve puts the magazine together, you're able to go through and read everything and make fine-tuning and edits.
Yeah, I'm happy to.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, yeah, because the last edition, there were a couple typos and a couple coding errors that you just wouldn't see, in a Newsweek or a U.S. News type pub, and that's where we want to get to. We want to be at that kind of level where it's just super high quality stuff, and Unfortunately, it's just too hard to do everything and run a practice. So if we can all help each other, that would be great. So, Steve, consider Charlotte to be your assistant editor.
Perfect.
And we'll work together and go over this stuff together. It's always better to have someone else review your own material anyways, because you never spot your mistakes.
Right.
We always think that
Yeah,
we're
I'm happy to do that.
Okay.
Steve, are you looking for anything in particular this issue, or do you have it all nailed down, or do you?
You know what? I should probably. I mean, I kind of divvied up article subject matters the last time for people. Did that work, or do you think?
It's better because people kind of need to be told what to do. Not out of disrespect, but people kind of need to be told what to do, or they're not going to do it. They have to have a goal or a mission before them, and we don't want overlap. If I'm going to write an article about success at mediations, I don't want you to write one too. That's redundant. So we all need to kind of. I could do cruise ship again or whatever, or give us some choices. Just say, okay.
Well, I mean, last time I kind of did injury categories, for lack of a better term, and so maybe this time we do kind of procedural categories: mediation, arbitration, trial, discovery.
Can we break that down even further, guys, and do like somebody do like direct and somebody do cross?
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be great.
It's a great idea. And the other thing you could do too, Steve, to get yourself a little bit of authority ranking and stuff, is do a blog post on the Circle Legal Trust saying, okay, here's the mission for Personal Injury Warrior magazine. As you know, Personal Injury Lawyer magazine is a blah 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 blah, and I'm Steve Sweat. Here's my link. I'm the chief editor. Blah 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 blah. We just purchased a domain, personalinjurylawyerwarriors.com. We're building that site out as well. Look forward to getting some guest contributors. Here's a link to the last copy. Here's a link to my website if you want to contact me. I mean, that's something maybe you could have one of your paralegals or somebody over there, write up a cool 300-400 word little article and throw that up on the Circle blog.
Okay.
I'll
do that today.
You don't have to, but people kind of like that.
Yeah, I'll throw that up today, and then I'll kick it out on the socials.
There you go, and you got the logins, I think. So
yeah, I think I do. Yeah.
Cool.
Can I do cross-examination of the defense medical doctor?
Absolutely.
Okay. Jeff still can't get in. He's all he can get is the YouTube feed, he says.
Well, first he's got to go to the events page, not the Mike Uihlein profile.
Is he liked or befriended or whatever you do on this the Circle of Legal Trust?
Yeah, well, I've got him here as a member, and I keep clicking invite, and he's getting an email.
So Tony, tell him to just scroll down his Google Plus that page, and it'll say on there somewhere this video calling session, and then it'll say join call.
Yeah, see, what he's doing is he's going in through the events page instead of the Hangout. What he needs to do is go to the Google Hangouts and then click join, because he's already been invited. So there's Google Events.
If you got the Chrome extension, it actually shows up as a sidebar too now. I'm seeing it come up right now.
Last week, Tony and I couldn't get in. We weren't getting the invite anywhere.
Weird.
He couldn't get in either last week.
And I'm, let me see here. Okay, so it looks like we got the Personal Injury Warriors thing kind of covered there. Now, Jeff can still type questions if somebody can view that YouTube channel, just let me know what the questions are on the YouTube channel. That's cool, and I'll just try to answer him that way if he's not able to figure out how to get into this Hangout. But I've sent him like 4 or 5 invites. He just has to go to either his contact, the little thing that notifies you of contacts, or just go to Hangouts and click join. So he's got a couple ways in. But it looks like we have 2 viewers. I can't tell who they are because I'm not looking, but one of you guys should be able to see there's 2 viewers right now viewing it. I'm not able to see questions that they type. So as I'm chatting away here, just keep an eye out and see if anybody's got questions. But let me see here. It looks like Charlotte's got her microphone muted for some reason. Hopefully.
Background
No, it's
noise.
not.
Okay, I just want to make sure you can hear us. Okay, guys, well, enough comedy jokes, as Steve Martin would say. Let's try to just try to blow this thing out really quick. Okay, so we got Personal Injury Warrior covered. The Las Vegas convention is going to be really cool. I'm going to get into some more advanced siloing. We're going to talk a little bit about the above-the-fold algorithm. Some people kind of think that it just has to do with ads above the fold, but that algorithm isn't just about having too many ads above the fold. It has to do with, I believe, a big slideshow that is above the fold that prevents people from immediately accessing your content. The heat map studies show that people want to see links and content above the fold at the very top. So we're going to talk a little bit about maybe either eliminating or reducing the slideshow to a sidebar and having your links and content at the very top, like you would for an index or a table of contents to a book. You know, the cover of the book might just be a picture, which would normally be like your index page, but your landing page probably needs to have like a table of contents, which we would call jump tags, which I try to use a lot of, which you guys are not really using. And jump tags are really nice to have. We're going to get into all that stuff. We're going to get into advanced siloing, stuff that I don't want to talk about on the air because I'm noticing that a lot of people who I don't trust, who've basically screwed me in the past where I've given them help, are now trying to add all you guys as friends and backdoor their way into the circle. So there's going to be some stuff that's not recorded at the seminar. We're going to also get into the proper way of getting backlinks from people who trust you without them being guest posts. There's a lot of ways to get backlinks that are legit, that aren't spammy, that aren't being used for the purposes of manipulating the search rankings, that can still give you authority and help you rank legitimately. We're going to get into all that stuff. We're going to dispel a lot of this nonsense that it's not okay to link out to people from your own site. It's actually foolish to hoard link juice. Being in Google, both want you to link out to authoritative sites. So, hey guys, make your sites authoritative. That's all I got to tell you. If you have an authoritative site, you better believe I'm going to include you as a link on one of my authoritative sites if I find a cool page on your site that I like, and that's really what it's all about. And so Circle Legal Trust is about trust. Matt Cutt has already said, you know, should only be linking to people you like and trust. Well, there you go. So we've already got the formula. We just have to now put it into action. So we're going to get into that kind of stuff. But right now, today we're going to get into, let me see, let me just go into, okay, we're going to get into intros. We're going to get into proper writing for your landing pages on your website. It's just so important, you know, and I'm still seeing a lot of people making the same mistakes with their landing pages, you know, just getting right into the nitty-gritty instead of talking about themselves. And you guys need to understand what branding is. A lot of people think branding is, you know, mentioning your firm name all over the place. And that's kind of part of it. But branding is really differentiating who you are and what makes you different, what makes your firm different. And so, you know, I like to use discover the E-line difference as one of my, you know, sayings that I like to use. Discover the E-line difference. And people used to laugh at me, why are you putting that on there? But, you know, it really makes sense because what makes your firm different, you know, like the Supreme Court says, corporations are persons, and they really are. I mean, corporations are basically just an umbrella of persons. And you're a living person, and a corporation is an incorporeal person, but they're still defined as persons. And so you have to define what makes you different as a person, both individually as the attorneys who work for the company, as well as the firm itself. Too many lawyers like to put the, hey, I'm a super lawyer rising star, hey, I'm an AVO 10 plus, I got an award, you know, from CALA, you know, for not picking my nose at a seminar too many times. And that's all really cool stuff. You know, you need to have that. I call that flair. You know, when you go to Fuddruckers or whatever and they wear all those buttons, it looks kind of cool, but you have to get deeper than that if you really want to do well on Google now. And so all of your setup pages should probably be rewritten if you've lost ranking since 2012 to differentiate you, to show what makes you different. And so I'm just going to do a quick little blurb, and then I'll let you kind of think on your own, you know, what you think makes you different. But basically, you know, what makes you different? Well, it's not that you won an award from Super Lawyers. That's something you can mention on your page somewhere, but you really want to talk about what makes you different in terms of what a client wants. Well, we know that most clients, as a general rule, don't like attorneys. Most clients perceive attorneys, and they're probably right, to be egomaniac jerks, to think they're better than everyone else, that many lawyers have never had real jobs. They've never participated in the economy. Most of them have basically had wealthy parents who put them through law school, and they've never really had to experience what's really going on out there in the real world. So there's really a kind of a culture clash between attorneys and clients. And a different type of different mannerisms, different speaking, different experiences that sort of put a wedge between the attorney-client relationship from the very beginning. Let's face it, most potential clients are intimidated by attorneys, and they may just prefer to try to handle the case on their own just because they're intimidated. And so you need to put out there that you're different. You know, hey, I'm not just some guy who went to law school. I've run several small businesses. You know, I've had to make payroll. I know what it's like to pay taxes for things that I'm not receiving a benefit for. You know, I'm out there in the real. I've been there. You know, I know what your pain and suffering is. I was actually beat up by a cop over a traffic ticket, which is what motivated me for a parking ticket. Because I asked him to show me a photo ID and he flipped out. So, you know, these are all things that you need to incorporate into your initial introductory page for each city that you practice in and for each practice area. For example, amputation injury attorney. I'm going to go with the injury because that's what I do. Well, what makes Eline different or a better amputation injury attorney than most? Well, Eline was a Marine. He's seen missing limb cases before. He's assisted people who have had missing limbs or lost a digit. You know, he ran a limousine company and even had, as an attorney, he had a case where one of his clients lost a missing digit due to a faulty refrigerator on a limousine that chopped her fingertip off. So, you know, Eline's had first-hand experience with these cases. He's not just somebody who wants to handle your amputation case. He's seen them up close. He's been a first responder to amputation cases. He's actually held off the artery from bleeding someone out. So he understands more than most. He's also run a business. He understands, you know, what it's like to get bad service from a vendor, for example. He was in a car accident as a young boy, and the attorney never returned phone calls. It really left a bad taste in his mouth about attorneys in general. And he's talked to other friends who felt the same way. And so when Eline set up his firm, he wanted to make sure that he didn't make all those same errors and mistakes. He wanted to put a better face on the injury world. And so what makes Eline different is that he's gonna courteously and promptly return phone calls. He's going to return text messages in a timely fashion. He's going to come to your home or hospital's bedside at a moment's notice when you need him. He's always on call for his client's interests. If he doesn't call you right back, that's because he's in court fighting for another one of the clients. And yes, that's right, he's got to fight for other clients too, or he couldn't afford to be in business to fight for you. So as long as you understand and respect that, also know that Eline is going to promptly make sure that your case is dealt with as if it was his own. Because at Eline Law Firm, you're not just a file, you're also our friend. You're not just somebody we're trying to make money off of. In fact, we're not trying to make money off of you. We're trying to help you because, like Mike Eline's dad always said, don't go after the money, go after doing a good job and the money will follow. And so that's the kind of page. It's conversational English. Conversational English is what Google's looking for. They don't want to see you constantly repeating keywords over and over and over again. And yeah, you're going to have to supplement the language with terms that are related to the keyword you want to rank for. You may have to consult with the thesaurus. Instead of using aggressive over and over again, you might want to look up the thesaurus synonyms and antonyms and commonly used terms for aggressive in order to more accurately and precisely state. Notice how I just used accurately and precisely. Those are thesaurus terms you'd want to use, perhaps. State, you know, what differentiates you, what makes you different. And so, really, SEO nowadays isn't about manipulating the search engine algorithm with a bunch of keywords and terms. It's about using common English phrases and terms, and maybe advanced English phrases and terms to express your intelligence. And that's something that an attorney should have, is a lot of intelligence. And that's something that Eric Inga and I spoke about. And at first I was like, well, that's crazy. You know, I got to use all these crazy words, you know, barrister, solicitor, or some weird word, you know. Not necessarily you would use that in America, but just to not, you know, some of these terms like, he's a phenomenal advocate, you know, if you're in a pernicious situation, you know, where an evildoer has harmed you and caused a great catastrophe to your life, and a loved one has passed away who was a major wage earner, and now you're living in, you know, you're destitute and bankrupt, lost your home. You know, these are serious damages and harm that can befall a downtrodden victim of serious personal injuries. So eventually, after you write enough and you've seen enough quality ranking pages, you're going to see a pattern of this kind of language in these descriptive terms that make you different. But now, there's more to it than just that, because you may have a multi-jurisdictional practice. So because of Panda, you want to avoid that overlap. So if you have a Los Angeles landing page and a Beverly Hills landing page, for example, they both need to explain what makes you different. And so the way I'm approaching it is, well, what makes me different in this particular geolocation? Well, number one, in the South Bay for Hermosa Beach, I ride my bike through Hermosa Beach all the time. I've had several brushes with death and close calls with catastrophic accidents. And so I've seen firsthand with my own eyes the tragedies that can befall people in the South Bay community. I've eaten at the restaurants. I've seen people slip and fall. I'm aware of the dangerous sidewalks that are already there. I know where your injury took place, probably more often than not, and I've already been to that location and can usually converse with you in an educated fashion about what just happened to you, and probably even tell you what happened to you once you tell me where you were hurt. I'm able to drive to the scene because I'm a local resident. I was educated up here. I got my law degree just up the street at the University of West Los Angeles after I'd already passed the bar. So I was already a practicing lawyer, and so I can throw all these, mingle all these. What makes me different? What makes me special in this legal community? Beverly Hills is another one. I drive my Benz through here all the time. I have Chinese food with all my Jewish buddies every day. Beverly Hills, and I wear my kepi to court or whatever. What makes you different? What makes you fit in? What makes you unique with the community? What makes you jibe or connect with the local heartbeat of the community? Each page needs to be unique about that particular geolocation and how you fit in that community. What makes you stand out in that community? Your Los Angeles page is going to be radically different than your Beverly Hills page because it's going to talk about what you bring to the mix. You may have a partner who grew up, went to Beverly Hills High School. You want to talk about that. So that's the kind of stuff you want to, like my Orange County pages are going to be awesome once I rewrite them because I'm going to go into the fact that I was recruited in the Marines out of Orange County. I'm a native of Orange County. I used to surf Newport Beach and Huntington Beach. I've been to Golden West Street, Dog Beach, and Huntington Beach, and was actually bit by a dog there. So I know what it's like if you're a dog bite victim. I know how dangerous it can be, and I empathize with you. And I've been through what you've been through.
He's the only guy I know that ever got bitten by a dog on purpose so that he could have that unique experience.
Yeah, well, I try try to make sure that I experience. Michael Eline makes sure to get in a truck accident so he can experience your pain and what you went through. You know, that's how serious we are. We want to make sure, you know, he jumped out of a helicopter with no parachute too, so he could experience what it was like to have a failed parachute. And he survived just like you. And now, even though he's got a traumatic brain injury, just like you, he wants to come into court and help you. I know that's a little extreme, but let's face it, if you've ever been in a boxing match or mixed martial arts and you've been knocked out, well, you probably have a brain injury. A concussion is a brain injury. So you might want to talk about that on your brain injury page, Steve Sweat.
All right.
You know, that's the kind of stuff you want to make sure that people associate you with what they went through. People want to know that you're on their team and you've been through it already. And they also want to know that you're not some a-hole attorney because, like I was telling Anthony, you know, a lot of these guys like to brag, oh, billions of dollars in recovery, right? But if you ever met this guy out on the town and you wanted to talk to him, he'd blow you off like he didn't even exist. I'm sure you guys probably already kind of know who I'm talking about if you're in California, but you know, some of these guys have their head so far up their rear end and they're so full of themselves. Personally, I'd rather hire an aggressive guy like me. I'm not bragging, but an aggressive guy like me who's personable, who wants to go to the rifle range and shoot with my clients, than some jerk egomaniac punk who might get me a few more dollars, who's going to nickel and dime me at the end of the case to try to screw me out of my referral fee if I'm an attorney, or find a way to, you know, jack up the expert witness fees or some way to get more money out of me, you know, at the end of the day. Who pretend like they're great liberal progressives, but at the end of the day, they're just greedy capitalists hiding in, you know, like a sheep in wolf's clothing. So, you know, those are the kinds of things that you want to talk about. You know, what is it that makes you cool? You know, because that's
hey, don't get on a rant now.
What makes you hip? What makes you cool? You know, that's something also you want to look at. And you might want to get on a rant. Honestly, you might want to, you know, what makes you different? You know, constantly we hear complaints at our firm from clients who fired their other attorney, who was the billion-dollar verdict attorney, but who was a total jerk. And yeah, he had a private jet, and yeah, he had a Bentley, but he was a total a-hole. And after his third or fourth divorce, he probably should have figured out that he needs to learn, you know, how to not have his wives leave him all the time. Or whatever, you know, I'm just trying to come up with some concepts, some ideas to where you can differentiate. Now, I'm not saying that all guys are jerks. Sometimes, you know, it's the women too, but,
okay.
You know, just, you know.
I'll give you a story, Mike.
I don't hurt anybody. Go ahead. Give me a story. I want to hear one.
I'll give you a story, Mike. I won't name any. I won't name any names to protect the innocent, but I had a client one time, weird case. He actually went out to a vending machine and put his money in and pulled on it, and the whole thing came over and shattered his leg in 3 places. I worked it up about, you know, maybe 4, 5, 6 months into litigation. I looked to some of these kind of guys that you're talking about to get a little bit of assistance with moving it forward to trial with experts and whatnot. I called the guy. He set up an appointment with me and my client, who was a respiratory therapist and worked about 80 hours a week, who took time off of work to come with me and go to this gentleman's office to meet with him because he said he wanted to meet on the case. And I got down there, and I was informed that, you know, first of all, there was nobody even there to greet me, and then when they finally came out, said, oh, okay, you're here to see so-and-so, and then they went back, they come out, and then they say, oh, you know what, he really doesn't want to take the case, he changed his mind. You know, so I promptly left, you know, obviously pissed off, and just, you know, worked the case myself all the way up to about a week from trial, and settled it for a pretty decent 6-figure amount.
Well, that's,
own, you know, so
there you go. So already you've got a really great descriptor that talks about something that makes you unique and different, and it also talks about ambulance chasers, cappers, runners, different terms you could use, stuffed shirt, egomaniac, jerk, common terms that are associated with attorneys. And see, with the Circle Legal Trust, you know, one of the cool things about it is, you know, honestly, I've really tried my best to recruit people who don't act like lawyers. I try to find guys who are regular people because honestly, yeah, people want an aggressive lawyer, but they want to have somebody like a Steve Sweat or a Tony Castelli who they can relate with. But you've got to tell them on your website why they can relate with you. And so you talk about, common complaints by personal injury victims about attorneys would be a great thing to have within the first couple of paragraphs, and why you don't get those complaints. And a cursory review of your online reviews will corroborate that. See link here to Google Plus review, for example. I mean, there's so many ways you guys can do this, but you have so much firepower now for a multi-jurisdictional site because, again, each page needs to be unique and different. With these ideas and concepts that I've just thrown your way, that should give you a lot of firepower to get in there and rewrite these pages. If it's a spinal injury page, you should talk about your hyperextended back or shoulder or whatever from jiu-jitsu, Steve, or Tony from when you got thrown from your motorcycle because you got cut off by the truck. Or when you were a kid, like me, you were involved in a rollover and almost died, and then your attorney didn't return calls, which encouraged you to become an attorney so you could change the legal profession's image. You didn't just do it for money, you did it because you wanted to make change. For me, for example, it's, I'm a civil rights kind of guy. I really dislike abuse of government. I think we need limited government and more power to individuals. People need to take control of their own lives. More like a Ronald Reagan type of a model. And so I try to put that out there, and clients like that. People, things like personal responsibility, yeah, that's great. But when someone else isn't responsible, they need to pay. And so you can sort of segue. You can talk about how you're responsible and how individual responsibility is great, and everybody needs to be responsible for themselves. But hey, at the other end of the spectrum, when they're not, they shouldn't be able to get away with it. Tort reform is not a conservative value. See, that's how you do it. You turn it around. See, a true conservative would hold someone account and force them to be held accountable for their misdeeds or misfeasance, malfeasance, or nonfeasance. See all those words? Nice, right? Big words, but they make sense. And so that's how you want to speak. So just if there's anything that you guys can take away from this session today, conversational English. Conversational English. How would I talk to you if I came in for a client interview today? How would I talk to you if you were my client? Would I say, we have vast experience in multi-million-dollar verdicts, and I have a 5-star rating on AVO. What the hell is AVO? I mean, maybe Anthony Castelli knows what AVO is, but most clients are clueless. They might know what Better Business Bureau is, but most people associate BBB with a bunch of scammers anyways. So, yeah, put that somewhere on your site. It looks good. It's Fuddrucker. It's flair. Now, results. Believe it or not, clients are less impressed with multi-millions of dollars in verdicts and settlements than they are with knowing about you. Most people don't care that Tom Hanks won an Academy Award. They care about his performance in Saving Private Ryan. They thought he did a great job. Thought he did a kick-ass job in Saving Private Ryan.
One thing they look at
the Academy Award, you talk about Saving Private Ryan. You guys following me?
Yeah. One thing they do look at, though, if you can get your 5 stars.
Oh, yeah. And that's what I'm saying. You see link here to client reviews.
Yeah, they like, that's
in the schema.
More attorneys are getting that, but that gets your eyes.
Make sure the schema is there too on your site, like where you actually have a schema on your website with a snippet of the review with a link back to the actual review. That's important too, and I think Steve and me are doing that because
one thing
Go ahead.
One thing I've been doing lately, Mike, is I've been basically describing the facts of prior cases, the real life, what happened type of thing, rather than just I got a settlement of $1 million.
Yeah,
it involved a pedestrian in a standing in a service bay, and some idiot valet came around and just wailed into this guy, and he went flying 6 feet, and he was out of work, and he didn't know where to turn, and so forth and so on.
Yeah, and that's awesome, and that actually is a great one. Like, click here to see the video interview of the client, right? Click here to see his review on Google+. And that falls into the introductory statement that we're discussing right now about what makes you different. It's not that you got $1 million. It's that here's the facts of this particular case, and this is a really grateful client. It has less to do, whether you got him $100 or $1 million, that's not really what the clients are interested in. They're interested in how did you guide this person's case, and did this person feel comfortable, and did you think that you were a good lawyer, and are you still friends with them? I mean, I try to maintain relationships with most of my prior clients and stay in touch with them on Google+, and I've actually had them write that about me. Can you guys still see my picture? Because now I'm flashing a picture of Abe Lincoln.
Yeah, I see it now. It goes
Okay.
back and forth. Now I see it.
Okay. So, you know, that's kind of really what this session was really about. I just wanted you guys to really sort of rethink how you're doing things. Don't go with redundant, redundant opening statements, and make sure that each opening, I call them opening statements, which fits right in with being a lawyer. Make sure that each opening statement on your individual page maybe talks about a case you worked on, or talks about a personal experience you've had with this same type of event. I mean, like I say, most of us who have been in a car accident or have been into MMA have been knocked out. MMA for sure. I mean, I've been knocked out plenty of times. People who've been in the military have seen amputations and heat stroke and all kinds of different things over their lives. As just kids, we've fallen off our skateboard and broken our arm. Well, if you have a broken arm page, that's something you can talk about. The experience you had at the hospital, how hard it was to get medical records, how difficult it was to communicate with the attorney, how the attorney really would rather be at the golf course than be helping you, and how that inspired you to be different. And here's a checklist of what makes us different. Not necessarily that you've gotten $1 million verdicts. A lot of lawyers have done that. What makes you different is that you promptly return calls, that you go to the hospital and meet them if you have to. Send a limousine to pick them up, you know, if they can't get to you. You know, whatever the case may be. You know, what are you going to do to go the extra mile for people? And here's some examples of what other people have said about me going the extra mile for them. That's what makes you different. And again, you know, bragging about, you know, multi-million-dollar cases, having 10 points on AVO and stuff, it's cool to have, but it's not the focus. The focus has to be is what makes you different as a person. So it goes back full circle to, as a person, what makes you unique, what makes you stand out, what makes you better than other people. And go into not just clients, but what do other attorneys say about you? Well, look, other defense attorneys have actually sent me cases because they liked me. Even though they thought I was really aggressive, they were like, wow, that's the guy I would call if my mom or dad got in a car wreck. I'd call that Eline guy because he was relentless. He was just an animal. You know, and that's kind of the, you want to talk about that, you know. And that's kind of the, you want to talk about that, you know. Go ahead. So, was somebody trying to talk, or was that just feedback? Sounds like someone's got their speaker up really loud.
No, we were just.
I don't know where that's coming from.
Yeah, it's feedback from somewhere. But.
Michael, I'm going to have to go.
Yeah, that's fine. So basically, look, that was it, guys. Steve, if you want to stick around for a few, we can talk some more. It's good seeing you, Tony.
All right.
All right.
I'll try to notice to hang out a little bit earlier in the week for next week. Let's see if we can get a couple of hitters to do a roundtable, like maybe an Eric or an AJ, to go into more detail. And then also, I just wanted to throw this out at you guys that I was able to get lawyers.com to reverse themselves on their no-follow thing. They're going to have a trusted attorneys section for serious bloggers who comply with the Google Quality Guidelines starting on the 25th of this month. And so all those no-follow links will be turned to do-follow once you meet the quality guideline compliance and all that.
All right. Do you know where you're going to stay in Vegas, or where we're going to hang out?
How do they?
Hey, Mike, can you turn the recording off so we can talk about a couple more things?
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and stop the broadcast. I hope this was helpful to everybody. This is actually going to be the first of a series of videos on the Circle of Legal Trust YouTube channel. So I'm stopping the broadcast now.